Today I'm riding the new 2020 Norco Sight, an aggressive all-mountain bike that really does deserve to be in that category of all-mountain. This bike has 160mm of travel up front and 150 out back. A little less travel than we see on big enduro bikes these days, but the Sight does keep things rowdy with its 63.5 degree head tube angle. It's also a fantastic climber with its very comfortable 77.7 degrees seat tube angle on my size large, and I specify the size because Norco is one of the few companies that actually adjust things like seat tube angle and chainstay length depending on what size you buy. This assures that the ride of the bike is consistent throughout the sizes. Norco also offers their Ride Align system with their Sight that gives you an extremely detailed starting point for your bike setup based on your weight, height, and gender. And it goes way beyond just suggesting air pressure, telling you how high to have your stem, your bar width, how many tokens to run, and basically everything you'll need to get your bike 90% dialed before your first ride. They even have options to compensate for your skill level and how you weight the bike. You can check out a Norco Sight at Kinetic Cycles, and I'll have a link to the shop down in the description. Or keep an eye on Grizz Tour's Instagram for the next demo day. Hopefully we can get back to those soon. So let's take the Norco Sight out on a first ride on the North Shore. Alright, so we're on the 2020 Sight. This is a bike I really like. I really like the way it looks. Even every now and then I go onto their bike builder, build up some baller looking Sight just so I can look at it some more. I think they've got some really good looking bikes this year. I'm going to go up sort of my usual loop here on the North Shore on Mount Seymour and give this thing a test. So I tried out the Optic yesterday. That was pretty good. You know, great climber, much faster climber than pretty much every bike I've ever ridden. And now I'm pretty interested to see how the Sight climbs. I think it's going to be a little better than my Enduro. And what gets me really excited about this bike is it's almost like it's like a trail version of the bike I have now, which I do really like. Just steeper seat tube angle, just a slack, 29-inch wheels, but 160mm travel up front, 150 in the rear, and just a bit of a lighter bike. Hopefully it ends up being a better climber with all that same descending power. All right, let's skip over to the climbing trail. All right, so we're on the climb trail. We're going up. Good Sir Martin. And as I suspected, this bike climbs really well. For this kind of trail, I'm a bit of a basher, so I like the Sight better than the Optic, even though it's probably slower, but I feel more comfortable because I'm so used to just bashing my way over the rocks and roots. And I don't really feel the need to, you know, flip the climb switch. I think the suspension feels really good. I don't feel like I'm bobbing up, really. Or at least I don't, if I am bobbing a bit, I don't really feel like it's taken away too much of my energy. I don't really like climbing. I'm not a big climber. It's more of a means to the ends for me. So my review of bikes and their climbing ability, you know, is suspect. If you're buying a bike for climbing, don't come to me ask for advice. That's for sure. I'm gonna get you to buy a downhill bike. But as far as this bike getting me to the top of the mountain, really comfortable. A+ as far as I'm concerned, because it's just as good, if not better, than any climbing bike I've felt before. But I'm always curious to go check the times after, even though I do know that my times are wildly dependent on how I'm feeling that day. And I've been doing a lot of riding lately, a lot of bigger rides, and it's super hot today. That's why I'm running the gimbal instead of my full face with the chin mount, because it's hot. It's so hot, and I get hot, I get sweaty. But you didn't come here to hear about that. Let's just skip ahead and we'll go ride this thing on some downhill. All right, going down on the site. Whee! The trailer is sounding a bit loud and chunky. So far, this bike feels really good. I think the suspension that Norco's done this year is just fantastic. And, you know, sometimes suspension can be kind of hard to set up, kind of annoying. But with the ride-a-line that I used, feels pretty darn spot on to me. And it just feels hard to describe, actually. Try to kind of compare it to the Enduro. And my problem with the Enduro right now is it feels pretty chattery. I haven't quite sorted that out. All right, so this is Pingu. Pretty chunky, chundery kind of trail. Woohoo! No problem on the site. That was a bit scary on the optic, but the site feels very comfortable. You know, for having 10 less mils of travel in the front and 20 less in the back, doesn't really feel like it. Kind of feels like it's a longer travel bike almost. And definitely very, very quick. Feels pretty snappy, even though this is the 29er and it's got a really pretty slack head angle. I think the same as my Enduro, like 63.9 or something. But oh yeah. So I'd say if you're looking for an all-day bike, leaning onto the Enduro side, I'd go with this. Definitely, I just hop on it and I felt super confident to charge. And if you want an all-day bike, kind of leaning towards the cross-country side, I think that's where the optic comes in. Both bikes you can ride any trail, but you're going to feel more confident on specific trails depending on the bike you have. All right, let's ride some double black. So we've ridden, you know, the Tech Flow. We've ridden the Chundery Pingu. Now we're gonna do some classic double black North Shore. This trail isn't too crazy as far as the double black, but it's got some moves on it. And I'm getting along with this bike really fast. This is a large, so I'm in between large and extra large with Norco. And kind of the rule of thumb with the North Shore is you want to go the small size you can for all the tech and the jank. Because if you lived in a place with more sort of straight, fast, you know, straightaway stuff, that's when you'd want that long bike. And I think if I was gonna buy a Sight and I was 6 feet, I'd go, ooh, almost missed that. I'd go with a large. Ooh. Yeah, like this bike, nice. So easy to control. It's kind of like, I want to say a mini version of the Enduro, but it doesn't feel as, you know, small suspension-wise as you might think. So I don't want to say that, but it's like kind of a snappier version, or a snappier bike at least. I'm doing all these skinnies first try, which isn't always the case. But I know a lot of the reviews I've seen talk about how they really love the new suspension on the Enduro, but to be honest, I still haven't figured out the back end just yet. Whereas this bike feels like I expect. It's got kind of a nice supple feeling, like not as chattery, but on the bigger hits, it's there for me. Now what I really would like is a bigger gravel version of this bike, which I'm going to speculate that some sort of new range is coming, hopefully soon. And I would kind of expect it to be basically a long travel Sight, which if it is, whew, that's going to be a sweet bike. So I do really like this bike, and maybe I should try and find something to complain about. I feel like every time I review bikes, but they're not even really reviews, they're just me saying how I feel riding them. And then I always say, oh, their bikes are so good these days, it's hard to complain, which is so true. I actually don't know what to complain about this bike. Well, I guess I would like to have, I think just personally, a little more travel. Although I'm not sure I need it, but you know, a 170, 29er with this same sort of bike basically, that would be something. I'd like that. So fun. All right, this is Empress double black jank trail. Ooh. This bike feels a little more nimble than the Enduro, so far it's handling it quite well. Oh no, that was my fault. I pivoted too aggressively into a rock. And down. Sorry bike for all that jank, but Oh, no problem. I used to have so much trouble on that trail, and sometimes it's still trouble, but not that time. All right, so who's this bike for? Well, this one's pretty easy, because I think this bike is for people like me. So if you watch my videos, you know how I like to ride. That's what this bike feels like it was made for. I really like it. Now, would I take it to the bike park? Yeah, I could ride it in the bike park, but I mean, I always would prefer to have a DH bike. And I think one major spot that the Enduro has up on this bike is having that more travel. The bigger hits and the harder hits, that extra 20 millimeters, you can tell that, you know, you're a little short. But other than that, really, I don't know. I don't know what else to complain about. So, I guess on that, I'll see you guys in the next one.